some good music though. Ooh, hoo, 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 hoo. Whatever. I'm just testing out the game. Oh shit. Let do. Come on, we still need to give you a few pointers. Hold the accelerator just before the number 2 appears. Get a boost. Holy shit! Some breakneck speed right there, alright. Shit. Oh, so you can stunt. Fuck yeah. Oh shit. Oh, you bitch. Okay, hold on. Oh shit. Hello, Goonie. How art thou this evening? You don't have to do that, Goonie, but thank you. I am just a mere man. I see all the love and I appreciate it. Thank you. But how you doing this evening? Oh, man. Well, thank you, Goonie. How am I doing? How am I doing? I'm tired. I got one more day of work, but for the most part, I'm good. I'm just, it's this holiday season, so work's kicking my ass, but for the most part, I'm fine. I treated myself because I finally got paid, so I ate, and now I'm playing a game that I heard was really good, and so far I've already tested it, and it's so far so good. I like it. And, you know, just treating myself, keeping my morale high. Hopefully once some of my friends are able to acquire this game, I'll be playing with people on this. Yeah, it's a Hot Wheels game, but I don't care. It's a racing game and I love it. I'll play anything that makes me feel nice. But yeah, things are good. I think the only thing I think the only thing that's not good, but it's not really bothering me, is for some freaking reason, it is legit 90 degrees right now. The sun's going, like, it's 6 p.m. for me, and it's 90 degrees. Oh, you've been playing some Monster Hunter? Oh, oh, I can't wait until you get more in depth with Monster Hunter. The Monster Hunter community is funny as hell. Once you start understanding like some of the stuff that goes on in Monster Hunter, there are so many jokes. I got no clue as to why it's hot. It's just hot. I'm just gonna deal with it until it'll just start getting colder. But I've been burning up. But I can't wait until you get further into the Monster Hunter community. There are so many jokes. Like one of my favorite ones when I first started getting into it, because it's kind of what helped me become better at Monster Hunter, is there. I don't know if you ever heard of that's not gonna help. I mean, a cool shower would help, but it's just that hot. One of the things I liked from Monster Hunter was get good scrub. So when somebody, like, obviously when somebody says get good, they mean get better. With Monster Hunter, it's legit that you're gonna come across monsters that are just hard, and literally the only thing that will be the first question that most veterans will ask you is, like, do you have an upgraded weapon? The second one would be, do you have upgraded armor? And if you meet both those quotas and you basically are good in those areas, the last thing that they always say is get good scrub. And so one of the things that used to make me laugh all the time is people used to send pictures to other people where it was like a shampoo bottle with a Monster Hunter logo on it. It was basically get good scrub, actual, soap. So like the Monster Hunter community is amazing, and I'm glad you're loving it. It sucks that there's like no crossplay, so we can't like join forces. But like the best thing you can do to really enjoy it, and here's the thing, I beat the game by myself. And I had fun with the game, but that's just because that's what was accessible to me. But I still was in tune with, that the game is better with people to play with, and that is true. My play style is more kind of like, headbanging against a brick wall. I went from knowing nothing about the game to master rank, which is the hardest rank you get in, by myself, also on a harder version of Monster Hunter. This version of Monster Hunter that you're playing is the easier version because it was supposed to be inclusive for newer players. But Monster Hunter actually used to be a lot harder. And they show that in the master rank that appears in the one that you're playing right now. But for the most part, and it's just crazy, what you're doing right now, and then when you get to high rank, all of that is easy to anybody who's a veteran. Master rank is what really makes people a lot more challenged, all the veterans more challenged. So for me, I'm more, banging against a brick wall. But it is a better game if you have people to play with, because it's always fun to just to see your friends, like you're over off in the corner, you're like healing yourself, and you just see your friends get just trucked by a monster, and then there's so many random things that can happen. I had a few playthroughs where I played with somebody I met through the Phoenix Empire, Tao Netta. She joined in one time when we did Monster Hunter, and we had a great time. Like that, I love playing Monster Hunter with people. So if you're able to find somebody that you can play with, because I think that'll like boost your enjoyment of the game. Anyone who has a passion for the game will be able to tell you that like they'll probably do stuff where they'll create a completely new character to but like that's the thing. So when you have people join your party, the monsters become more hard, just to balance it out. So like they'll have more health. They may not necessarily hit harder, but they'll be a lot more hard. Like it'll take more time to kill them. And leveling up isn't really a thing. You'll understand this as you continue to play the game, but you don't really level up. You just get better armor, and then you do stuff where you eat food that makes you have more bonuses before you go into the match. There's not really much of a leveling up per se. So you're doing it correctly, yes, and leveling up will be the term that we'll use. But for most part, anybody, like if you come across friends who you want to play with and they've already played the game, because it is a bit of an older game. There are veterans who have just washed out through, but they love the game so much, like they'll have no problem creating a new character if that means they'll be able to play it with somebody. So I highly suggest you hit some people up and try it out with some friends as well. They'll be able to give you more pointers on the fly that maybe I forgot. It'll get you to understand what the community is like. The Monster Hunter community as a whole is an amazing community. I know there's probably some people who are toxic, but I've yet to personally meet anybody who's really toxic on Monster Hunter. I don't think anybody who really enjoys the game like makes fun of you for being bad at the game. Because the truth of the matter is, anybody who's good at the game are people who've just learned the hard way. You don't hop into Monster Hunter and just be good at it. You honestly don't. It's just one of those games that actually teaches you to grow. So like I haven't met any toxic people on Monster Hunter. So if you find people, hit them up, and play with them, test it out. It'll be a good way to learn a lot more about the game. So what am I going on with? Oh, it's a sticker. Change material. Let's see what they got. I'm gonna hop back. You had me talking a lot, and I just realized that like I reached the point where I was gonna design a bit, but I was like, you know what? I kind of want to play the game a bit more. That's what I'm saying. I think you found a perfect game when it came to Monster Hunter, because that's what's gonna teach you. Monster Hunter is one of those games where it's like it is rewarding for the learning. It rewards you for learning and grinding through the game. That's what it's gonna do. Like I said, every monster fights differently. So like you'll find some similar patterns. Like you'll realize that a lot of the flying monsters fight somewhat similar. And that's okay, like that's okay, like but it's almost like like alright, it's just a different bird. It's like this bird shoots ice, and this bird shoots fire, and that's where like the difference and the variation comes in. However, when it comes to like some of the harder monsters, you'll realize that even though they both fly, they do fight differently. So the biggest part of the learning curve is learning how the hell you're gonna take down this new monster. So I love that about the game. Like you really do like there are exploits, but not ones that are broken. So like if the monster is weak against lightning attacks and you get yourself a lightning weapon, you'll realize that the fight will be easier that way. But you really have to like learn the monster to understand those things. That's what it is. Like, so like yeah, you can use those exploits of using the monster's weaknesses against him, or using the environment to your advantage and all that kind of stuff. But the reality is, it's just all on how you want to hunt. Like I said, I'm just used to banging my head against a brick wall. For the most part, I just get a weapon that is universal, Like, all right, this works on fire dragons. This works on water toads or something like that. It works on everybody. And so, like, even when it comes to flying monsters, I basically just dodge all their attacks until they land. But that's just how I hunt. There are ways to make the hunts easier, but that's how I like to hunt. And like the reason why I like it that way is because that's always been the rewarding way for me. You got me babbling about Monster Hunter, so like you can't do that to me. You get me start talking about Monster Hunter, I start geeking out. Like I said, it was a very influential game when I first found it. But yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Oh, like I said, I'm trying not to like to babble so much, but like I don't know. I just love that game so much. But the thing is like I also want you to experience those things. Like there's so much like what was big for me, like I said, so for one, when I first started playing Monster Hunter, I didn't have internet access. And then oh jeez, let me get that. Uh, hold on, let me lower this volume real quickly. It just won't let me do it right now. 3, 2. Okay. Oh, you can change all that. Okay. Let's lower that down. No, so like when I first got Monster Hunter, I didn't have internet access at that time to really experience multiplayer. Like I said, I did everything by myself. So all the frustrations, all the things I liked, all the things I hated were all first-hand experiences. And I was dumb enough where I didn't use resources to really like train myself to understand that there are certain things to do. So like I use poor armor, like I mixed armor sets. I used bad weapons. Like there's a plenty of things that I did that were wrong, but I toughed it all out because I knew it was a very popular game, and I did enjoy myself amidst the pain. I was just figuring out why I was so bad at the game. But like, you know, things like meeting my first Rathalos, like which is basically the flagship. Like it may not be the main monster, um, out of all the games, but it was one of the first monsters for the actual for when Monster Hunter first came out. So like it always has like its own special music. It always gets a certain screen time because it's a fan favorite. It's one of the OG monsters. It's been there since the beginning. It's your basic fire breathing dragon, but there's a reason why it has a lore history of being called the King of the Skies. And when you fight it, you actually feel like you're fighting the King of the Skies. And so there's certain things that I experienced in that game that were just perfect because it was a game that showed that the people who made it showed love inside the game. They continue to show love in the game, and like it was expressed, and I actually really enjoyed it. And my thing is like I'm trying not to spoil too much stuff because um Monster Hunter World has those moments too. Sure, they were a little bit dialed down for me because I'm a veteran, so like they'll like show me the flagship monster, like oh that's cool, and then I clip its wings and bring it down and like show who's the boss real easily because I'm just used to how the game plays. So they don't hit as hard as they would have if I was just blind in it. But I don't want to spoil anything because I don't know how it affects you. I want you to come across a monster that I had first met and you just be like, oh damn, maybe you even lose to it and you're like, what the hell was that thing? Because I love it when you have that when you lose to a monster, but you're in like this moment of awe where you're like, oh my god. Hold on, bro. Rolls into yep. Is that the one that rolls in rocks and likes to rearm himself? Is I'm trying to remember which one it was. Is he covered in bones? Like does he always roll? And then like he gets out of it and like slams his face into the ground at you? Because I don't know how far in the game you're at. You fight him near the Veil. Yep. So here's the thing. Is it? I think it's called the Odogoron. Is what? That may be the different one. But see, this is stuff I didn't want to spoil. Is because he's actually a new monster, but he's based off of an old monster. Actually, one of my favorite monsters because I used to use the armor of the monster that he's based off of to like make myself a really hard defense fighter. I won't spoil anything for you because, but like, so the monster that he's based off of is one that actually is armored by rocks. Actually, so this is what I like about Capcom. So if we're talking about the original one rolls up in a ball, and he's covered in rocks. But the thing is, he's also covered in explosive rocks that he drops wherever he goes. So it's one of those fights where it's like, oh, you can chase him and fight him, but like it's always a hazard to be around him. You have to watch where out for these explosive rocks that he drops. And I used to hunt him and use his armor in the game when I was just like still a babby monster hunter, because his armor used to give you like defense boosts that would make it so like if you got hit, like you could get like a miracle block on you where it's like you got hit and that was probably like a move that should have taken a lot of health away from you, but because you're wearing this armor, it's almost like you get a free pass. So I used to love his armor, and I used to rock it all the time. And if I turned on my like my Nintendo 3DS and put the game in, I probably still have it on. That's how much I loved his armor. But the one you fought, and this is why I love Capcom, because Monster Hunter, the way they do it is they always try to base monsters off of what would it be like if they were real animals. So the one that you came across is basically what they try to play off of is like, okay, what it really is it's the monster I fought, but because of the habitat he's had to grow in, which is basically he's surrounded by a bunch of dead animals, so he doesn't have access to rocks to like really increase his armor. He decided to adapt and use bones instead. And that's what I love about Capcom. It's like what would happen if you actually had a real life animal in these situations. They really try to base the environments on like what would like if an animal could actually live there. So it's like one of the things. So I obviously since you've been there, you also know that there's a certain area where you can't breathe in the gas because it slowly starts to deteriorate your health. It's called effluvium, I believe. But there are monsters that are immune to the effluvium, and if you hunt them, you'll get armor that makes you immune to that effluvium because they have adapted to live in that environment. So it's a really interesting game, and I've loved it. And that's what I say that the love comes into play in it, is because it's not like you're going around into some random areas, coming across monsters like, oh, that's a cool thing. No, these monsters actually live in these environments and have adapted to live in them. And so basically, like you're almost going to like to their territory where they have the advantage all the time. There are some monsters that don't agree to that or adhere to that at all, which are very Thunderdoggo. He's just a dog who can control lightning, but typically speaking, he is a denizen of where he lives is like in the mountaintops where a lot of lightning strikes and stuff like that, and he's more profoundly known to appear during storms, which makes sense because that's his environment. You won't really find a Zinogre in like the Arctic or in the mud. That's not where he lives. And like they do play with it a bit where it's like, oh, what happens if you find one here, blah 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 blah. And that's what I liked about Capcom. So yeah, that's why he's covered in bones. And yes, he's annoying. And I don't know if what you've learned, but I will tell you a tip to kind of deal with him or deal with monsters in general. When I don't know if you've noticed, but your weapons probably bounced off of him a lot or something like that. I don't know how attuned you've learned the game, but you can actually weaken their armor if you grapple onto them with that grapple claw. And then for me, it's triangle. But whatever you do to attack them, you can basically weaken their armor. So like what I would do for him, because he's so big, toothpicks that I know. And the whole point about Monster Hunter is that it's not like you'll get weapons that'll just breeze you through. But unless you pick up those weapons I told you to, I don't know if you still have them, but for the most part, you gotta keep on upgrading those to stay ahead. But it's not like, oh, I have this good. Yeah, I know. I honestly feel like you probably felt annoyed fighting him, and this is what makes me laugh, because and this is why I didn't want to spoil anything for you, because right now you're annoyed with fighting him. There are worse monsters, and then there's gonna come a point where you go back to fight this guy, and you're gonna be like, wow, I remember when this guy was annoying. But you've now learned how he fights. You've now learned that he has super armor, and that there are definitely ways to fight him. There's different ways to weaken him. So like honestly, uh, uh, like what I'm trying to tell you with like grappling onto him and like breaking parts off of him, if you grapple onto him and then weaken that area and then focus on hitting that area, you will break that area. And what that ends up doing is that weakens his ability to re-armor. Like if he does that thing where he like rolls in some bones to put bones back on him, because you've broken that area of his body, he won't have bones re-armored there. So that's how you defeat him. It's more like focusing an area. And if you're using sharp weapons, don't hit the face. I'm sorry, but like he literally, I don't know if you've seen the move where he slams his chin on the ground. Like he literally has a strong jaw. He's the Crimson Chin. Like, and that's what they actually call the original monster, the one he's based off. They used to make memes to call him the Crimson Chin because he has a big chin and all that kind of stuff like that. But he has the bone one has the same move set almost, and he'll slam his chin on the ground like that's a super armored area. Like if you don't have a hammer, don't hit his face. Like honestly, just ignore it. You don't need to focus on it. What you want to focus on is cutting off his tail, because he'll do like that tail swipe where he kicks up a bunch of bones. But if you cut off his tail and then he tries to do that move, he'll only kick up like small little tiny bones that are really easy to dodge. Focusing an area on a monster actually helps you in the long run in the fight, because you basically remove their ability to fight the way they habitually know. They're gonna try to like if you break like a flying monster's wings, he no longer has those strong wind gusts that he can use against you. You get what I'm saying? If you target how you fight the monster, it'll help you in the long run. Instead of just wailing on him, thinking, I got this, I'll hit this leg, now I'll go for the tail. No, if you focus on one part, it'll actually be better. And all damage counts. So it's like it doesn't like even if you cut off the monster's tail, but let's say you keep on attacking that now cut off tail, like the stump, you'll still be doing damage to him. Like so, all damage counts. But if you try to focus on an area, and you'll do better. But like I said, what I liked about Monster Hunter is like you're gonna have like I'm serious. You fought this monster, and you're like, God damn, that was hard, and it was annoying. I didn't like that. I don't like it at all. And then you're going to get further down into the game, you're going to realize that there are harder monsters. Monsters that may not have a lot of health, but hit like a freight train. And so you're spending more time dodging, and you're like, what the hell? But here's the thing. You start getting better at your dodging. You start getting better at targeting how you fight your monster. You start getting better at understanding that, hey, maybe I should like back off, or like use the environment more in this fight. And then as you learn those things, you're going to come across the moment when you go back to fight those monsters that, air quote, annoyed you. And you're going to realize that those fights are easier because you as a gamer, you as a hunter, actually genuinely got better at the game. And that's what I've always loved about the game. So right now you're going through that, why is this so hard? What the fuck? And I get it. But keep on pushing through. Keep on fighting, keep on learning, get better with your weapon, get better with how you want to handle things, maybe even switch up your weapon. Like maybe that, I don't know, that's what I like about Monster Hunter. You still have 13 other weapons you can choose from if you so choose if you want to change your weapon. And so it's like it becomes this thing of like you learn who you are as a hunter, which is why you'll find once you get into like master rank, you'll find that there's people who are like, nah, I'm more of a ranged hunter. Or, nah, I'm more of a hammer, like I like blunt objects. Or, I'm more of a healer. Because they learn themselves as a hunter. And that's how you start getting groups. That's how you start getting people who go out as a hunt together. And, it really won't matter, because what people always tell you, what the veterans always tell you is, we don't care what you do. Find a weapon that you are comfortable with, and then use it. because we'd rather you be comfortable with a weapon and like you can utilize that better than trying something that we're like, oh, we really need a healer. No. I've seen people go into fights with no healers because there's just four comfortable hunters that know what they're doing and they just gel. There is no meta when it comes to actually beating the monster. So like it becomes interesting, but just stick it through. You know, choose your battles. You're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some. It's all a learning experience. You have yet to see what is bad. I'll give you one heads up because you're in the Vale. I don't know if you've come across Clifford, the demon doggo that's also in the Vale. It's not. It's called the Adogaron. I mix up the names, but the Adogaron, which is the a red dog with like a bunch of bone claws and stuff like that, he's a little bit of a nightmare to fight. Just giving you a heads up. Uh, that takes away your health. So heads up. You haven't seen Clifford yet? Oh boy. All I can say is bring health items, learn to dodge. He likes to hop in your blind spots. And to top it off, just be patient. And eat. Ah, damn it. I messed up. Yes, always eat. But yeah, you'll learn. That's why I love the Monster Hunter community so much. You'll just learn who you want to be and what you're going to do as a hunter. It's okay. Ah, damn it. But I'm just seeing what this game has to offer. Apparently a lot of the racing community that I've joined is going to be hopping onto this game because it's really fun. And honestly, I don't mind it at all. I'm actually really enjoying this game myself for the little bit that I have played. But you got me talking about Monster Hunter. So to put it in perspective, if you're curious if I've loved Monster Hunter or not, Goonie, you hopped on I think about what 10 minutes into my stream, and I've been streaming for 40 minutes. I just talked about Monster Hunter for about, I'd say, a solid 30 minutes. That's what it does to me. It has a very special place in my heart. But yeah, I'm excited for you, and I'm glad you're enjoying the game. I didn't know if you were still playing it, but I didn't want to like force you to play anything because you had streamed it a bit, and I was like, I wonder if she's still playing Monster Hunter. I hope she didn't give up on it. Not like because you can do what you want to do. I'm not gonna force you to play it, but I'm glad you're playing it in the behind scenes and realizing how much fun it is. Yeah. Ooh. Says what awaits. You got what it takes. Yeah, I don't know if you've played any Hot Wheels games before. I used to play a lot of Hot Wheels games when I was younger. I'm actually mad at myself. I don't know what happened to the Hot Wheels games I had. I used to have a bunch on them on the PlayStation too. The only thing I think I've noticed from this one that's a little bit different, it's okay. This one actually honestly feels like an old school Hot Wheels game. I actually feel a little bit of my childhood coming out in this. Only difference is this one's more race oriented and not stunt oriented. So the way you used to gain boost in the old Hot Wheels